My advice would be not to be scared. That's easy to fall into that place. Surround yourself with a community, whether that's one or two people or hundreds, but a community of people that you can just talk to whenever you need. If an opportunity comes along that might sound really random and off the wall, I would say just do it. Just go for it.
Welcome to Another Door podcast. Another Door is a place that you come to when you're rethinking your work, whether it's job loss, a career change, or you just want to rethink how you are doing your work right now. Come and find us at anotherdoor.co.uk. On this episode, I have Foluke Akinlose MBE. I am a huge admirer of Faluke's work. She runs the Precious Awards and Precious Movement, of which you could see many of her work as like a digital magazine telling stories, sharing hope and inspiration for people. And I really love her story of how she got into it and the moment that she decided to do this. So she was in a very successful corporate career and decided that actually she might be able to be doing something else. She started a side project so we can all take a bit of inspiration from that. And then a door closed for her, and there was the opportunity to go full into what she's doing now. She's very honest in sharing the highs and the lows. We all need to hear that, don't we? It's not all a case of have an idea and it all comes good. She does share the highs and lows. So I hope you enjoy our conversation. Foluke, welcome to Another Door podcast.
Thank you.
I am excited to have you share your Another Door moments with us because I've heard you tell this story before and I've now been following you like some sort of weird obsessive. But there's so many Another Door stories. I'm curious to see where we go today. But thank you so much because I know you're a really, really busy person. So I'm really appreciative of your time. So thank you.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure.
Before we go into the Another Door moment, maybe a quick introduction for those listening. Who are you?
Who am I? It's not a song. Who am I? So I am Foluke Akinlose. I am the founder of Precious. And Precious is a platform to showcase the achievements of women of colour in business and leadership. And we do that through Precious Magazine, which is a digital platform, through our awards shows, which is, we have two award shows. We have one in July, celebrates women of colour in the creative industries. And then we have a big one in November, just about women in business and leadership. It's very, I don't want to use the word corporate, very more a sit down and fancy affair. And we also host Precious Nights at the British Library, which is a series of panels that take place on the first Thursday of every month, where we invite women from the Precious community to come along and talk about their challenges, share their stories really with our Precious audience. So yeah, that is me.
Oh, easy. I mean, simple. I mean, what else do you do?
That's just in one day, you know.
Oh my goodness, right. Okay. So inspiring. I love it. Right. So Another Door moments, they come in all shapes and sizes and, huge, great big things that doors closing in our lives, or sometimes it can be small things that just start off a change or a different way of where you take your path in life. So Fluke, where are we starting? What's the Another Door moment you're going to share with us?
Oh gosh. There's been quite a few. Actually, it's something I was talking about the other day actually with a friend about being made redundant. So my career started out in startup organizations. I was working in one for about 2 or 3 years, doing pretty well. It's one of those very, pizza on a Thursday, football places, very male dominated. But I had fun there anyway. I really enjoyed my job. And then one day I got called to a little room and basically got told I was being let go. It's like, I was like, pardon? I was so shocked. So I could be redundant, but at the time I was actually doing Precious as a sort of side hustle. So I was working all day from like 10 till 7 or whatever it was, then rushing home to, code Precious, do interviews, that sort of thing. So being made redundant was actually a blessing in disguise. It allowed me to focus full time on what I really, really wanted to do. But at the time, I was I was quite angry about it all. It took me a little while to see the goodness in what had happened to me. And I actually spent a lot of time thinking, how can I get back at them, get back at the company for letting me go? How dare they? But in the end, it turned out okay for me. It took me a little while to get there. And the benefit of being let go, being made redundant, was that I could focus on Precious full time and really help it blossom into this machine that it's become. So yeah, I suppose that was my moment.
Oh, that's intriguing that you wanted to get back at them. I mean, honestly, who is them? Have you got back at them?
I've got back of them. Yeah, I have. Yeah, but I've been really successful. I think because I've been in the digital industry for, I don't know, about 8 years during that time. At that time, I never had anything bad happen to me. I've happily gone from job to job, and that was the first place I felt, I could stay here for a little while. So I was really, affronted that they would let me go. So I think that's where the whole, I want to get back at you in some way came from, and the anger came from. So that's just not me at all. I'm not I'm not an angry,
Yeah.
laid back sort of person. But I think it's just a shock of being let go by a place that you considered, or that they told us that we were all family. Yeah, it was very shocking in the moment, but it was a blessing in disguise to waste it. Without that redundancy, I would have still been going from job to job, and Precious would not be where it is right now. So I'm not going to say that I'm grateful to them, but yeah, it was a blessing.
It's really fascinating, isn't it? That in the moment, you can't see that it's a good thing, but in, giving it that space to think it could be was probably the moment that you started to make that happen. It's just that really tiny moment of time, isn't there, where you're so angry, you're so lost in the hurt, because it's hurt, I guess.
So hurtful, yeah, so hurtful.
And it's very hard to find space to believe that it can be anything good can come from all that hurt. But as you say, just allowing some space to think, well, maybe, what if, and seeing what happens.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious why you started Precious, because as you say, you were doing really well. You were in an industry that was kind of thriving, and you were doing really well. What was it that made you start Precious?
Oh, so when I was a kid, when I was a little girl, I used to love magazines, printed magazines like Just 17, Jackie, that sort of thing. But I never saw anybody in there who looked anything like me. There was no black girls, no brown girls. A lot of my friends who were white, they'd grown up from the magazines. They learned about makeup and, how to talk to boys or girls. But for, girls that look like me, it's just like we were invisible. So I thought, when I get older, I'm going to launch my own magazine and publish this bright magazine. I was going to talk about, black success, talk about women's stories. That was always my dream. That became my dream. But when I get older, I realized that, the publishing industry is very expensive to operate in, and there's just no way that I could, publish a magazine on my own. And then when I was about 22, I started working at ITN in the digital department, and I read a lot of magazines. I found a lot of magazines online that were American based, and I thought, okay, this could be a way for me to do something of my own. This dream that I had from when I was a little kid. And so I launched Precious. I just taught myself how to do HTML, and after work, I'd just run home and I would start publishing pages and doing interviews, and that's how Precious became a thing from that.
That's incredible. That's I just think that's so amazing. Because a lot of us have these ideas. A lot of us go, "Oh, this isn't going well for me," or "There's something missing," or "Maybe there's a gap here." But how many of us don't do anything about it?
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's
What
true.
did you?
It's just a burning thing inside me. I
Mm.
just, and also I think it's a sense of injustice. Really, it's like, why are we not being seen?
Yeah.
It's just, and I just thought I just need to do something about it. I didn't see anybody else doing anything, so I thought, okay, it's going to be me. It was a long process. I'm not going to say I got from A to B really quickly, but I think the only barriers I had was at the time was feedback from other people that wasn't very supportive.
Mm.
From my business advisor saying, "Oh, what do you need a space for? Separate space for women of colour for? It's ridiculous." And someone is saying to me, "A lot the internet's going to last very long anyway, so I might just go back to printed." But then the women that did get it, they totally got it. So that's how the press community was built from those, very hard, dark days. But yeah, it's been a journey. I'll say that.
That's just making me laugh. These people, because one of my first jobs was selling the internet and selling the internet. I mean, good God, on a CD, cold calling companies and trying to get them to buy the internet. And the same thing used to come up saying, this is just a fad. We
Yeah.
don't want it in our organization. It's going to really mess up with our internal IT system. It was the devil. It was like you're selling the devil to them on this CD. It's amazing, isn't it? And yet there you were, like not only powering through with this kind of very niche needed thing, but you were doing it in a format that people weren't even accepting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it was so weird because even in my day job when I was at ITN, this was like in the days of, dial-up internet. ITN were just starting to really recognize the benefits and the power of the internet. We were all the teams, like there's a team of, I think it was about 8 of us in this little dank room. I remember one of the newsreaders came into the room, like, pull aside this curtain. That's how sort of primitive our setup was. Pull aside this curtain and said, "What is this nonsense that you're all working on?" And then stomped off.
Well, do you know what though? We have these moments now though, don't we, where we have to stop ourselves when everyone's going on about NFT and Web3
Yeah.
and all of
Yeah.
this stuff. It's kind of, yeah, is it the next thing or is it a fad? And in many ways, I think that our experience, well, yours especially, yours hugely, is about, well, why not give it a try anyway? Like you had nothing to lose by
Exactly.
going for this. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So so you get this up and running. And I don't feel like we're doing this justice because this is like a huge thing that you're doing on the side. This is huge. And we're already painting a picture of this is not in this day and age. Without putting an age on, I'm going to bring myself into the age thing as well. So we're in this together. But, it's not when the internet was, you could press a button and it was all done for you.
That's
This is
right.
not when you were doing this.
That's
So
right. That's
where
right.
did you start? How did you even begin to know where to start and how to get going?
Oh gosh, so when I used to try and source knowledge from the people I work with. So everybody else on my team, ITM, was a typical sort of tech boy, if you like. Um, so they were the coders basically. So I would just ask them if I could spend an hour with them and just sit next to them while they were doing their stuff and just see how they did it. They didn't take me seriously at all. But after doing that for several weeks, I learned how to build a page. So I thought, yeah, I'm on my way now. And then the next thing was really content. So I crowdsourced stories from my friends. I used to go to a few press parties and just linger afterwards and try to interview people that were there and like famous designers to get some sort of nice study content on the website. And then it's when I started talking to women that I really, really cared about, which is the entrepreneurs, the women in business, the women in corporate life. So I got to lots of networking events and asked people if I could interview them. And a lot of women were like, "Oh, me? Why me? Why do you want to know my story?" Um, I said, "Well, Precious is all about you. You get it?" So that's how I started, really, very slowly and surely. But it was all about just soaking up that knowledge and then put it into practice when I got home. And yeah, self-taught all the way, which is very fun. And also I trained as a journalist as well. That was my degree, was journalism. So I knew how to write content and, source content. So I had an advantage there as well.
Mm. And a curious mind, a mind that just kind of goes, right, can't do this, but I'm going to find a way.
Yeah, always. I've always been very nosy as a kid. I always asked questions as a kid, much annoyed at my parents sometimes. But I always want to know why and how. Why and how?
Oh no. Why? That question. Oh my God. Stop with the why.
I think it served me in good stead, really. As I've grown up, so I've never stopped asking. I always want to know how.
Okay, I'm a little bit curious. I'm going to go off track a little bit, but I've got to ask you, what was the best press or event you've been to?
Oh my gosh. I think personally, my best press event was going to see Gil Scott Heron, and
Mm.
it's like a private press thing. It's quite intimate, but it's somebody I really, really loved.
Yeah.
Um, and getting the opportunity to interview him afterwards, that was amazing. I can't believe I was in the room with him. In terms of glitzy, probably a BAFTA show I was invited to randomly in about, I think it's 2011, I want to say. I don't remember anybody who won, but I do remember the copious amounts of champagne and the outfits that were on show that day, that evening. It was just surreal. It's like people that I'd seen on TV in soap, soap star. I love soaps. So there's quite a few soap stars there. So I was like in my element. Um, yeah, it's probably the most glitziest thing I've been to.
Was there any bad behavior?
Oh God, yeah. I actually got thrown on the floor by somebody really famous. I probably shouldn't say who it was. Um,
No, you're going to have to share now. We need to know. Who the heck threw you on the floor?
it was like dancing with me.
Oh,
It was very bizarre. I just like sort of started dancing with me, twirl me around, trying to get me a sort of like when the dancers do that thing where they sort of like go to the floor, sort of gently get each other's arms, sort of thing, and it just didn't work out. So I fell on the floor. Yeah. The only clue that I'll give you is that it was a chef. That's all.
is that the only clue we're allowed? Oh
That's
my
the only clue
goodness.
you're allowed. Yeah.
Yeah, secret safe with me and everyone else. Oh my goodness. I love it. And so okay, so you're going to press events and you're networking. Can I ask, do you like going to networking and these events? How do you turn up to these things? Because I don't like them. So I would love to know kind of how do you turn up to them?
Oh no, I don't really like networking. So I'm quite a shy person. I'm very much an introvert. So but I like people. So I can do it in short amounts of time. I have bursts of energy for networking, but it's not something I particularly enjoy. But I would say that everything I have in my career, a lot of it is down to networking. Um, just take a good example. So a couple of years ago, I went to Santander um, roadshow for women in business that was taking place in Liverpool Street. It's like a massive showcase of enterprise. And I went along, I think I went on my own actually. I went along because I thought it might be a networking opportunity and I could meet someone from Santander because I really want them to work with us as well. So I went along to that event and I also have a brochure in my bag that showcases all the precious winners of the Precious Awards. So I went along to this event and I saw the woman who's the head of Santander's corporates leaving the event during the lunch hour and I just ran after her. She was oh, man. I went after her and said, hello, I'm Fluke, you should be supporting us. I sort of shoved this brochure in her hand. And she was like, she sort of like backed away a little bit. Um, and then she looked at the brochure, looked at me, we had a really quick chat. She was like, give me a call on Monday and I'll get someone from my office to, get in touch with you. And I thought it was a brush off. So I did give her a call on Monday and she did introduce me to somebody in their business breakthrough team, which is supports women in business. And we're working with Santander now for the last 3 years. They sponsor the awards. We do research with them about women of colour in business. So it's like that's developed into a really good partnership. It would not have happened if I hadn't taken on the opportunity to just go network, just take a chance and you just never know who you're going to meet. Um, So I would say if you don't like networking, just give yourself a set time to do it. So you're going to get to an event for an hour or so, then you're leaving, and just try and meet at least one person. Even if it's got to be somebody who's good for you, just someone you can connect with on that evening or, on that day or whatever. Just someone you connect, one person you connect with on that during that networking event. And yeah, that you'll be okay. And then you can leave after an hour. Like you've done your bit, you've done it now. So bye. It's fine.
I like that. It makes it feel more manageable, doesn't it? You're kind of setting yourself a amount of time. I also like that you prepped though, like you had some leaflets. I mean, I don't know if we still do leaflets these days or something
No.
to give people.
Yeah.
But it's that also helps, doesn't it? Because you don't feel like you're sort of having to pitch in a conversation. You
Exactly.
could chat and then kind of get something in their hand. That's
Exactly.
quite powerful.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. I like that. I'm going to start making leaflets again.
I love it. Yes. Yes.
I'm not going to speak to anyone in these network events. I'm just going to give them leaflets. Like, who's this dude spreading paper around the world? Anyway, yeah, I've always had a weird thing about networks. I need to work on it. It's such an odd, irrational thing. And considering I organise events for a living, it's really weird.
But the thing is that most people feel exactly the same way as you do. I know I do. I don't like networking. Do you know what I mean? Everyone feels the same. And people that say they love networking, I don't believe them. Sorry.
They're convincing themselves. They just think if I say it out loud enough,
I believe it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But you organise events now. You do huge things. So I guess, is it organiser mindset? I'm wondering if, we prefer being organiser or having a role rather than just being the attendee.
Definitely. Because I organise events, yeah, but until very, very, very recently, recently as in January, I don't speak at those events.
Okay.
Yeah, so I normally have, apart from the awards where I have to say something, because obviously Christmas award is,
Yeah.
they'll like come out and say something. So I'll shuffle out at the end and say a few words. But I don't host the events. I've always had somebody else host them. For me, personally, it's also been a great opportunity to, put the spotlight on somebody else and give them a platform to showcase their talents. But more recently, I've thought, well, people have said to me, look, Faluke, this is your business. People want to hear from you. So I've started hosting Precious Nights. So I did the first one last Thursday, and it was fine. It was good. I mean, I was so nervous, being in the hot seat and interviewing, trying to control the audience and make sure the panel was comfortable, asking the right questions. But it was fine. Do you know what I mean? No one died. I was okay. I was okay.
You got through, and no one knew what was going on inside.
No one knew. No one knew. So I'm going to be doing that more. I'm going to be doing that regularly now. I'm going to be the host of Precious Nights. I've decided. So yeah. So it's a weird feeling, I've got to say, being visible.
How incredible! I think that's incredible. For the main reason is, I bet nobody knew what you were going through, because you're Foluke. You've done all this amazing stuff. Surely this is just a natural thing. Surely that you just do presenting and talking and all the time.
Yeah.
I bet nobody knew what was going on inside. It just goes to show, doesn't it? We never know what's going on for somebody else.
Absolutely. Yeah. People just think I'm just, I don't know, aloof. But it's just shyness. It's just absolute shyness. So, I'm also one of those people who doesn't really say anything. I can't do small talk very well. So I'd just rather not say anything. That's another thing. Come across as a little bit rude, but it's just me being shy.
This is where this leaflets, I'm loving this leaflet idea, just distribute the leaflets. We've got something to talk about. We don't need to do the chit chat thing. You can just look at my leaflet. If you like what I've said, come and chat.
Absolutely. And the one thing is, sometimes I use them as props. I sort of dance around with them. That's not really ridiculous, but it can break the ice a little bit sometimes as well. So yeah, leaflets are brilliant for networking.
I think we've cracked something here that has been completely overlooked in this day and age of digital. Yeah, this is good. I am getting a lot of ideas here. I shouldn't be just getting, I just feel like I'm getting ideas for myself and being very selfish here in terms of like, oh, brilliant, let's write this down. Are you looking for somebody to help you rethink your work? Are you looking for somebody who has got something to say, something different? Perhaps you're creating an event, you've got a conference coming up, and you're looking for speakers or workshops that really get people rethinking. Check out our platform with fresh new voices and people who've got something to say. Come and see us at recommended.anotherdoor.co.uk. So this is a fascinating journey, as you say. It kind of started with the redundancy, the job loss, but also before that, something started with a mission, a need to do something. What's next? What's going to be the next door you walk through? Because, it's not necessarily that a door always has to close for another one to open. You're just now progressing. So what's next on your mission?
A couple of things. I really want to do a podcast, actually. I want to do a Precious podcast. I want to have another platform to share these brilliant stories of women of colour. And I've also been thinking about, people always say to me, how do I become a Precious member? What's next? You come to an event, so what is next? What's being a Precious woman all about? So maybe do something like a membership or something. I'm not really sure. I've got all these ideas, in my head. Well, I do feel really excited about 2023. I don't know, just sort of tingle in the air. For me, that sort of big things might be coming along. I don't know what they are, but they're all Precious related, obviously. Well, the most immediate things, I'd love to do a podcast. And I would love to do some sort of membership thingy style thing. And also the other thing that I'm going to be doing is lots more connection with women. So having dinners, like monthly, quarterly dinners with women, just to chat, not necessarily talk about business, but just to chat and connect and just have a laugh. Which I think is something we need more of after the last 3 years we've been through. So doing lots more of that as well. So all really exciting things, I think.
I like that you're kind of going with the notion of something big but nothing defined. I love that.
Yeah. I don't want to force anything. I just want it to sort of like filter through in some way. I think for me this year, I've started off this year in a very sort of, I don't know, sort of easing myself into the year. And it hasn't felt I haven't felt guilty about it. Normally when I start January, it's like, all right, come on, what we're doing, let's go. It's very frenzied. This year's been really calm. I've been very chill. And I just feel really good about 2023. So, like I said, I feel like something really good is coming. I'm just giving myself space in mind just to let it all come through and just see what happens. So very exciting.
Well, that's another thing I'm going to capture. I like that January. Just a really lovely start to the year. I mean, what? Don't hear that very many times. You hear people like, oh my God, it's January. That's nice. Did you intentionally want to start the year like that?
I did in a way. I don't think it really, because it never occurred to me suddenly like that. Because it's just not, that's not what you do. Especially when you're in business, it should be like, on it. But it's just kind of happened, and I was okay with it. The first week of January, I was just like, I haven't done anything this week. Apart from watch Netflix. Okay.
What were you watching?
Oh my God. I watched the chess thing, the Gambit.
Oh, yeah.
That was really, really good. I watched so many good dramas. I can't remember what they were. A lot of dark stuff as well, though. It's not very good. A lot of murder mysteries. Fascinated by. But a lot on Netflix that first week, and that was fine. And then I started reading lots of stuff on Manifest. I read this book called Manifest, which is quite interesting. So I've never been really into that manifestation, but it kind of helped me to get me in that sort of right frame of mind for letting things just progress and flow.
Is that the Manifest book that's out? It's in the top charts at the moment. Is it that one?
Oh,
I can't remember the lady's name now.
let me.
Fan.
Oh yeah, it's Roxy Nefosi. I got it last year. It's like an orange book. I picked it up because it's orange.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's her. It's really good, actually. It's really good.
Interesting. Yeah, because I'm a little bit in the same space as you. I'm not sure about manifesting. I have a bit of a funny relationship with it because I feel like it kind of is a little bit dark at times. It kind of deludes people. However, you're right though. However, there's messages that shouldn't be lost there about letting go of pressure and the tensity of life and letting things in. So yeah, maybe I'll give that a go then based on your recommendation.
No, I think you'll like it. It's down because I'm very what's the word? I have to know how it works, science based. Do you know what I mean? I'm a very science based sort of person, very practical. So manifesting is just like, what do you mean? How does it all work? I don't understand.
I don't think you're going to be sitting behind anybody watching what they're doing, not like coding. Or maybe it is. I don't know. We're sitting behind someone. What are you doing? And then learning. And yeah, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. But I think you'll enjoy the book. I really do. So yeah, do get it.
Well, that's kind of yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah, we need book commissions. That's kind of jumped into the next question, and which might be the same answer, but I'd love to know what book that helped you through your another door moments.
It would probably. This is going to sound a bit weird, but I'm a huge football fan, and I love Alex Ferguson. So I read his book, his first book, a little while ago, and I don't know. I like people who are quite direct in how they say things. And his book is all about being direct, and also this thing he has about loyalty, that he embedded in his team when he was at Manchester United, which I really love. And I know some of his messages just really stuck with me. I think they've helped me on my journey. People will say to me when they say, "Who's your heroine or hero or whatever?" I don't really have a particular hero, but Alex Ferguson would be in my top 11 for sure.
Wow, I love that. That's so fascinating, isn't it? That's such a sort of what's the word? Right of center thinking, bringing that in. But I love it, and I agree with you. I've read that book too, and you can get, when you read it, you can kind of get quite a lot of not passive aggression, I guess, comes from the pages, doesn't it?
Yes.
But then you can convert that into something quite positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, such a straightforward thinker. We just really like the way his mind works. I really, really do.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a fascinating person.
That's a brilliant recommendation.
I'd love to see him speak, actually. I'd love to go see him speak, hear him speak, if he ever does any speaking tours in London.
Could you not book him for your Precious award? I mean, that would be a complete, like, what is going on here? But why not,
Generally, we were like, what's going on here?
A football, he's retired. Yeah, football legend. And yeah, I was going to say he's probably retired, but why not? Why not?
Why not indeed?
And okay, so I've got to ask you, do you support Manchester United, or is there a different team?
No, I support my whole family does. Apart from my mom, I support Sheffield Wednesday for some bizarre reason.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I used to go to football with my dad when I was little. Me and my dad and my brother would go.
To the Man United games?
Yeah, it's all the home games, yeah, and away games as well.
Was that when they were the Red Devils?
Yeah, I used to have a little belt with all the players' photos on.
Brian Robson.
Yes, Stevie Couple. Yes, all the people.
Oh dear, yeah, I remember those. I went also to football with my dad, but Carlisle United.
Oh,
not quite the same. That's the only time I used to actually see him at a football game.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah, I know.
I really love football. Really, really love football. And I was actually born behind Old Trafford, so And it's also the reason my dad came to Manchester from Nigeria is because of Man United.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. I used to watch them in Nigeria. So when he decided to come to the UK, Manchester was the obvious choice. So yeah, Red fans from the womb. I was a Red fan.
Yeah. Wow. And look where they are. Because at that point in time, they weren't doing that well. They weren't what we know them for today.
The rubbish was so long, yeah. But we just stuck with it. Well, they were bad.
This is where you've got your resilience from.
Definitely for being a Man U supporter. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Imagine we won in London as well. God, it's even more hard, I tell you.
Well, I don't know. There's a massive fan base down there of Man United. Brilliant. That's brilliant. I love where this has gone. I love it. So the next one, I'm very curious, my next question now, where this is going to go. What's the soundtrack of Another Door Moments?
Oh my God. That's so difficult. That should be a combo of Prince and Michael Jackson. It'd probably be Michael Jackson's Off the Wall album.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably one of the first records I brought. Yeah, and it's also Michael Jackson's Off the Wall, especially Off the Wall, that single is the song I probably sing the most to myself when I'm doing something. When I'm tying something where I need to write something down or wait for something to boil. That's the song I sing in my head the most. Well, it's really weird. Very random. But it's a terrific album and it reminds me of, when he was with Jackson 5, he was, as a family doing his thing. When he left, took that big decision that moment to leave and do his own thing. He didn't know how it was going to work out for him. Even though he was extremely talented, it worked out very, very well, obviously. But I thought that was his Another Door moment, right? Leaving the Jackson 5 to start up on his own. But yeah, it's the album that I probably come back to the most, that I play the most still. And yeah, it would be Off the Wall by Michael Jackson, followed by any random Prince song, someone else I also adore. But no, Michael Jackson. Yeah, I'm going with that one, Michael Jackson.
Okay, my final question for you. People have been listening to us chat about Another Door moments in our lives. And what's your advice for people? Maybe you're experiencing a door closing or changing their current circumstances or life. What's your advice for them?
Oh, my advice would be not to be scared. It's easy to fall into that place. Is to surround yourself with a community, whether that's one or two people or hundreds, but a community of people that you can just talk to whenever you need. I think community is so important when you go through tough times. And just think I would say, if an opportunity comes along that might sound really random and off the wall, I would say just do it. Just go for it. You never know what's going to happen inside.
Love it. Do it anyway. Do it despite everything. Do it anyway.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I've loved our conversation. So many twists and turns. I love it.
Thank you for inviting me, Ellen. It's been brilliant.
Are you looking for somebody to help you rethink your work? Are you looking for somebody who has got something to say, something different? Perhaps you're creating an event, you've got a conference coming up, and you're looking for speakers or workshops that really get people rethinking. Check out our platform with fresh new voices and people who've got something to say. Come and see us at recommended.anotherdoor.co.uk. Love this podcast? Give us a 5-star review or rate us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts,